Hey, hey. What's going on, good people? I guess it's Friday again. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you had a good week. I hope you were productive. I hope you had good news. I just hope in general that things went your way this week. You know, sometimes things don't go the way you want them to go. Sometimes you gotta be able to roll with the punches. You gotta be able to stick and move. And not worry too much about what you have to leave behind in order to move forward. So I think last time I was talking to you guys, I was explaining to you how my eyes were open to the truth. Because they certainly were shut for a very long time to all the lies. And I noticed that the last video I made, I kind of forgot to lay down my disclaimer, but as I thought about it this week, in preparation for this particular Friday, I realized that this particular part of the story doesn't require that disclaimer. In fact, it requires a completely opposite disclaimer. So, having said that, the purpose of this live, and every live containing any information with regards to the Kang, a la moi, and the Black Widow, unfortunate ex-wife, are exactly meant to counteract the lies that she's been running around here telling. So she's been the main, I would say cheerleader, except she's not cheering. She's operating in the reverse. She's the main hater. She's the main jealous and envious individual. I actually married somebody that was jealous and envious of me. So jealous, in fact, guys, that she argued with me on end, at least until I figured out I don't need to argue with you. I know what the truth is. But she would argue with me about who was the front runner. Who was the man making it happen? Who had the plan? Who was sending us into the stratosphere, so to speak? She didn't want to give me my flowers. How dare her? But I don't know. If you're anywhere in her immediate circle at this point, I'm sure you can probably see, or at least begin to see, that it was never her. Here's how you know, though. I'm gonna run it down for you. When I met her, she was doing good for herself. I can't lie. I mean, I liked everything about her. You know, we came over her house. She had a nice place, although I would later learn that it's part of the reason why she was in some of the positions that she might have been in before we got together. But I came in, I stabilized the financial situation within the household. I taught her about credit. I helped her repair her credit. And my ultimate goal was to try to make her as financially capable and strong as I was so that we could continue to do what we were doing. But somewhere along the line, I think she thought that once she had a little bit of power, I don't know, I guess in her mind, she felt like it was her that made all of that stuff happen. And I'm not saying she didn't do any work. She actually did do the work to make it happen. But I still showed her how and what to do, when to do it. The difficulty with that is it just seemed like there was always some reason to argue against the wisdom that I had collected along the way. And even though you could look over at me and see that everything that I was talking about was working. Oh well, doesn't matter. Like I said, helped her fix her credit. I helped her with her job. She wanted advice on how to lead and how to manage. I told her what I knew. I looked at the situations that she brought to me objectively. I didn't have any skin in that fight. So I was able to give her clean, good advice to help her become or be a better version of the leader she wanted to be. I was always there to listen to her problems. Right? I was always there to be supportive, things of that nature. And the reason why I'm saying all this, guys, is because the last time we made contact, the last time we hung out, and I made the last Friday video, I was explaining how I was recognizing that I had been being betrayed without really any good reason. I could see if I was out there running around and doing everything that I could do to show her that I didn't deserve any fidelity. Yeah, I suppose that would be fine, but that wasn't the case. So now I find myself roaming around in the month of July. July is on the way, and good old Darville's on his way north too, to a little birthday party. Now, I get to Oklahoma. I pick up my buddy, my brother, the Sag, and we commence to kick it like we always do. We're having a good time. We're hanging out the party until the next day. So, we're just trying to find things to do. Now, don't get me wrong, ain't a whole lot to do in Oklahoma. So we just decided to go over to the local package store and buy a bottle of Elijah Craig and sit back and knock a few down and lift some weights and talk some mess and laugh and do what we do. And by the time we got well into that good bottle of Elijah Craig, Sage looks at me and says, "Man, you lied to me." I said, "Lied to you? What are you talking about?" "He never lied to you." He wouldn't tell me what it was that he was under the impression that I had lied to him about. I'm confounded because in my mind, I'm like, why is this brother saying this to me? And more importantly, why is he under the impression that I've been lying to him about something? Now, as I told you guys in the last video, I try very hard, and I'm not saying I'm 100%. I'm not saying that at all, because I certainly will tell a lie if I think it's necessary. But above all else, I prefer to tell the truth. I prefer to do things in the light. I don't want to do anything in the dark, because then I do have to try to lie about it. But there wasn't anything I lied to this brother about, but someone had spoken to him about me telling him a lie. In any event, I shrugged it off, right? Because I'm a guy. I didn't really think it was that serious. I told him I hadn't lied to him. We've been friends since we were 12 years old. What reason would I have to think that he would not be okay with what I just communicated with him? Anyways, paid it no mind. We continued to drink. We continued to lift weights and laugh and joke and do whatever we did until the next morning when it was time to get ready for this party. So we're out running around shopping, trying to get to some level of, I don't know, clean. But I mean, hey, we're in Oklahoma. It's the country. I don't have to do a whole lot. Just want to be clean and crispy. That's it. But we get to this party. We get to this party, and I mean, like I told y'all on the last video, some good looking women. And that was assigned seating. That was kind of weird, but there was assigned seating. And we were assigned right in the middle of all the women. Which is not a bad place to be, because I got a lot on my mind, and I was looking for something to take my mind off of it. So, unlike going shopping, I'm sure if you know most men, when you go shopping, you know what you want. You go in, you get it, you leave. And this kind of shopping takes a little bit longer. I need to look around and see what all is there. And so we're hooting and hollering and laughing and joking. And I hadn't had anything to drink yet. I was just relaxing and chilling, meeting people that I had never met before, and saying hi to those that I did. And the women were out there on the dance floor dancing by themselves, and there's all these men around, but none of the men wanted to dance with the women. So I was talking to the Sag's cousin, and we sitting there, we shooting the shit, and I'm like, I'm not gonna say his name. I'm just gonna say he was a real cool brother. I liked his energy. He was a lot of fun, real funny dude. And I said, man, you better go on out there, man, and get you one of them out there. And he laughed and chuckled and looked at me seriously and said, they're not here for me, they're here for you. Now, I had to laugh because he had been telling jokes the whole night, so I just assumed he was joking, and that was his way of bowing out of, maybe potentially getting a no. We don't like to hear no, but as a man, you're gonna hear some no's before you hear a yes. So you got to go through the no's to get to the yes, but I didn't realize it at that time. Matter of fact, it would be some time before I realized that he was actually telling the truth. You see, it's my consideration that all the women that were in the party knew who I was before I even got there. And I also didn't know it at the time, but good old Sag, he wasn't speaking highly of me in old Oklahoma. He was just speaking in general, but he was speaking way too much, because apparently they all knew what I did for a living. They knew about my little real estate conquests and what I drive and what I don't drive and whatever the case may be. Right? I guess it looks like to the outside world that I'm just rolling over in a big money bin, and even though that ain't the case, the women were there to try to see if they could catch up with a brother. Got no problem with that either. I mean, hell, if I was a woman, I wouldn't want to try to find a broke man. I would look for a successful person, or someone who at least appears to be successful. So like I said, we, what are you trying to do to me? Yeah, well, anyways, I'm sorry. So like I said, I have no ill will. I hold no ill will towards women that happen to like, successful men. I mean, I'm similar in nature, right? Like I'm looking for a woman that that definitely has something going for themselves. So in any event, like I said, we're at this little gathering, this get together, and party's heating up. I'm finally starting to have a little bit of libation, loosen up a little bit, and I danced with a couple of the women, beautiful women, introduced themselves to me. I introduced myself to them. But there was one woman in particular that I just could not stop looking at. I really did want to know more about this person. But she's standing over at the little photo booth taking pictures with the birthday girl. And I'm thinking in my mind, how can I get close to this woman? I don't want to be too thirsty. Go figure, right? So in any event, like I said, they're taking pictures. I figured, well, hell, why don't I get myself into the picture? Now, the goal here was if I could get myself into the picture, I could then turn around and ask this young lady to text me that picture so I could then have her number. Now, it wasn't that I was afraid to just simply strike up a conversation. I just was looking for a more creative way to segue into the conversation itself. So in any event, that's exactly what I did. I offered up my face to be on the photo with her and the birthday girl, and they didn't seem to have a problem with it. And then from then on, we began to have a conversation, and the conversation flowed well. I enjoyed the chemistry. I enjoyed looking at her. Anyway, so like I said, we had numbers. She had my number, I had her number, and her girlfriends were gonna go run off and go to some little hole in the wall spot that they like to kick it at. So then comes the second young lady. After old girl leaves, I meet another woman. And she's chatting me up. Now, I don't know anything about this woman, but she's really aggressive. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not normally a big fan of aggressive women, but by this time I've had a few drinks, and so I'm a little loose with it. So we're having conversations. These conversations are a little bit more adult than the conversations that I had previously. Because like I said, she was aggressive. We did exchange contact information and things of that nature, but I didn't think too much of it. Right? Club was about to let out. The party had been going for quite some time. It was time to go home. Everybody was out in the parking lot ready to go back to another individual's house to have a nightcap, a little after party, if you will. And the second young lady happened to show up there. So we spent more time talking and other things. Nothing too crazy, just conversation, But when the morning broke, it was time for me to get back to my hotel room. Yeah, because I had too much to drink. I wasn't going to keep driving around in the middle of the night. I'm not not stupid or crazy. And ended up catching back up with the Sag, and we headed back to the hotel. Had to check out by 11. I wanted to go into the city, into Tulsa, and stay at a different hotel. And that next day I called the first young lady. And I think we got together for just some drinks in the afternoon, late afternoon. Drinks turned into dinner. Dinner turned into ice cream. None of it planned, but the chemistry was there. Or so I thought. And it's important to know that at this time, I met these two individuals, and I am considering doing God knows what with these two young ladies, because I wanted to be destructive, right? I wanted to plant something firm to ensure that whatever it was I left back home in Texas was going to be done for certain. When truthfully, that shouldn't have even been required. It took me a couple weeks to figure that out. And once I figured it out, then I kind of shut all that down. All the communication, all the different talking, all those things like that. But like I said, I had a good week while I was there. I spent the entire week up in Tulsa, hanging out with both of these young ladies. Went back home a week later, and when I get home, my garage door is open. Now, before I had left, I had put the Corvette up on my garage lift because I was working on the exhaust. I was having a problem with my actuator valve. And I took a look at the valve, put the valve back in, and then I buttoned up the rear valence, and I just left it on the lift. But when I get home, like I said, my garage door is open. And the Black Widow and her nephew are in the garage. He's taking out the trash cans. I guess she's assumed I left indefinitely. Right? And her nephew was here on work business. I guess he does adjusting and stuff like that for when you have hail and roof for an insurance company. Anyways, I spoke to him. I said, hey, went on in the house. She comes in wanting to know where the hell I've been. Wanting to argue. And I gotta be honest, at this point, I'm still pissed off. I'm not arguing with anybody. And I just simply told her, I said, look, I said, hey, if you're free to move about the country and you can't tell the difference between Addison and Richardson, it don't matter what city I tell you I'm in, because I could be in another city now. I mean, you made this fair play at this point. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm gonna be free to do what I wanna do until I decide to move forward, move away, or whatever the hell I need to do. Because I hadn't figured out that part yet, right? I wasn't expecting any of this. But in any event, I hadn't been home in a week, and I missed the vet. I hadn't driven the vet in a couple weeks because I had it up in the lift for a while. So I took the car down, I jumped in my car, and I decided to go, where did I go? Well, I went to Whiskey Cake. Yeah, I went to Whiskey Cake, and while I was on my way there, I noticed something strange was going on with my exhaust. It was rattling. Yeah, it was rattling. So when I get to Whiskey Cake, I get out the car and I'm looking at the exhaust, and the bracket that holds the two exhaust pipes together was broken. It wasn't broke when I left, but it was broken now. Can you guess? Can you guess what might have happened? And as I'm getting back in the car, I noticed that there's something wrong with my seat. And see all the plastic around the bottom edge of the seat where the power recline and power move forward and power back buttons are, all that's broken. I didn't see it before. I'm like, Jesus, I'm pretty sure I had locked the car. I guess I didn't lock it. But guys, I ain't gonna lie, I'm pissed off now because now you're messing with stuff that don't got nothing to do with you. Now, if you want to be mad at me, be mad at me, but the car ain't did nothing to you. So anyways, I get myself something to eat, and I'm on the phone with this young lady, and we're just chit-chatting. And she wants to come to Texas to see me. And I'm like, no, I don't know if that's the thing to do just yet. right? Because I'm still now, I'm back home. I'm looking at this big, beautiful house. I'm looking at the way my life is, and I'm asking myself, do I really want all this to stop? Guys, I'm kind of stuck here. On one end, I know I need to leave this crazy thing. But on the other end, I love the life that I have. And it's going to be a theme that I'm going to have to battle with for the next 4 or 5 months. Because you see, the end of July is coming up. End of July is my birthday. And I'm thinking, man, do I want to be somewhere far away on a secluded beach with a woman I really don't know? Do I want to go by myself? No. I mean, we hadn't spoken. I mean, we're going on almost 2 months, y'all, not talking. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of starting to feel a little lonely in this big ass house. So I do the stupidest thing I could possibly do, guys. I go to her and I say, hey, look, I don't know what the fuck you were doing back in May, but we either gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do with this relationship, if we're gonna make it work, or if we're gonna just move along. Guess that's what she was waiting for me to say. Guess that's what she wanted to hear. You see, we ended up taking a trip to the Bahamas. We took a trip to the Bahamas on my birthday. And guys, I ain't gonna lie, had one of the best birthdays ever. It was my 50th birthday weekend. And we had an awesome time together. The kind of times that we used to have before, I don't know, things became about money, I guess. Or things became about who had what title, or who owned what, who didn't own what, who had too much of something and who didn't have enough of something. But none of those problems existed when we went to the Bahamas. The only problem that existed when we went to the Bahamas was her being a little bit bent out of shape about somebody giving me a massage. I mean, we had couples massages. I know you didn't expect me to have a man give me a massage. It was crazy. But we did argue about that, but that was the only thing that we argued about. But here's what happened on the way home, guys. On the way home, someone decided to spring up on me that they had already made plans to go to Florida to visit their niece. See, her niece had just built a new house with her new husband. And she wanted Auntie to come see it. Now, I could understand that. I think family's important. I think supporting family and championing your family members when they succeed, when they achieve something is important. And I didn't see any problem with it, but I should have. Yeah, I should have. So when we got back stateside, because we landed in Florida, I flew back to Texas, and she jumped in a rental car and she went on her way. Now, I wouldn't see her for a week, but when she got back, oh, guys, the saga continues. And it's gonna get real, real stupid. Now I'm gonna leave the story right here, guys, because the next 2 videos are gonna be about me having to experience a level of pain I've never experienced before. My own personal dark night of the soul. The question that I just spoke to earlier that I had to really sit down and seriously answer for myself. The reason why maybe I seem a little bit different than I did before that night. So yeah, tune in next week, guys, where things really ramp up, where the truth of who I married starts to really culminate. Hey, look, hope y'all have a good weekend. I hope you're hugging somebody. I hope you're telling somebody you're loving them and you're meaning it. I hope you're kissing your babies. I hope you're reading to them babies too, man. Babies need to learn how to read, man. I've seen some people on the internet that's adding they struggling a little bit to enunciate. So, read to those babies. Get those babies going early. Hey, until next Friday, y'all. I love you, and I hope you take good care of yourself and take good care of the people that take care of you. We'll see you.